Well, I finished up at Northfield. Thought I'd slide over and get a bite to eat with Jim. He's in town, and it seems kind of odd. The restaurant closes at 9 o'clock at the racetrack, at the casino. I guess nobody eats after 9. I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I didn't know that. So we're going to grab a bite somewhere else. Rosetta raced good tonight. It's so weird, though. With the hobbles on, she's a totally different horse. I mean, totally different. Tim had messaged me before the races because I had asked him, what did you have in Rosetta's mouth? Now, for those of you, Dr. Rucker, I'm sure, and a lot of my partners on Rosetta, you'll know that Rosetta almost ran away with me last year in Kentucky. Pretty good, too. Stretched me right out, and she could get really hot, really, really fractious, just very green, and was still warm training back. Training down, she would get really hot. You got to watch her. Now, we qualified her with the hobbles, without the hobbles on. She never wore them in her life. Went to race her, and she rolled off stride halfway down lane. The straightaway, she touches herself right hind. But she needs to learn to stretch out. She's not going to learn how to stretch out in a half-mile track, and she's staked in Kentucky, New Jersey. So there's no point just continuing to race her on smaller venues because that's where her comfort level is, because she's never going to get an opportunity to race with stake competition at these size tracks. So I wanted to send her to Mohawk. I go to race her, and I talk to Tim, and Tim says, no, we didn't put the snake cord in her mouth. Are you sure? Like, sure. He said, Anthony, I'm 1,000% sure she just wore an open happy bridle with a snaffle bit. Nothing special in her mouth. So just to err on the side of caution, I put the snake cord on her tonight anyway. She's worn her whole life. It's nothing new for her. I don't know whether it's with the hobbles or maybe she's just learning. She was quiet. She didn't need the snake cord. But her hobbles seemed tight, but she needs them in the straightaways. They seem fine in the straightaways and tight, really tight in the turns. So that leads me to believe she's not shod correctly. She's not using her hobbles correctly. So she's not shod correctly to race in those hobbles. So she's leaving tomorrow for Ontario, and she may actually need a complete overhaul. This would be one of those situations where forget that horse's name named Rosetta and change a lot. I don't know if Harry and James are going to want to race her with no head check on. We didn't. She was fine. She's just sweetheart in the race. Maybe wear a Murphy blind on the outside because she does get out just a tiny bit in the straights, and that's when she gets herself in trouble. We have like side-weighted shoes on her behind. I think you just put a set of aluminums or full swedges on her, she'd be fine. She was good, but in the weirdest way. Anyway, I think she's, that is a useful horse. And when she does learn to trot, gets a little stronger, learns to trot the straightaways good, she could be a nice filly, I think. I said that a lot today. Been very, very happy with the way the horses have responded. The rookies in their training right now, where they're at in their training. The sophomores that are either racing or on their way back to the races. And the race horses themselves also. Very, very pleased with the way things have been going. So happy to get the win tonight. Really happy to get the win tonight with Rosetta. And looking forward to see how Felix does next week. Now, Felix is in Northfield right now, but he's only here for a short period of time. He'll be racing at the Meadows. I don't know if he'll get in next week. And quite frankly, what is all the beeping about? And quite frankly, when it comes to Rosetta, in a perfect world, if she doesn't get in next week, that might not be the end of the world. I think we could make some equipment changes and school her with those changes on. I think she'll race the way she is, but I think you could make some wholesale changes to her and they could go a long way. Either way, listen, she's riding a 2-race win streak. She has somehow turned the corner from being a hothead and a little bit of a lunatic to actually being extremely polite and subdued. Learning her work, understanding her work. I moved her over. She was cautiously advancing. You could tell in the last turn she really wanted to dig in, but I didn't want to tire her out and tip her over down the lane, so I just left her ahead of Hunter and just kind of rode on her the whole way down the lane, and she wasn't letting that horse any closer. She's got very smart. So pleased with her race tonight, pleased with the entire week. I was lucky not to get soaked, and I did. I told the judges, I said, I have a little tickle in my throat, and Jim is here also in town, and I did apologize to the gentleman that listed me on his horse on the 15th. This is the second time I booked off his horse in a late race, but I just told him I couldn't stay. So I'll be back in action tomorrow with JK Victory and Patrick de Perona here in Northfield Park. And then Monday, it'll be a deep freeze everywhere, and I'll be on my way back to Ontario to race Spitfire Overseas on Monday evening. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you guys had a great evening. I know it sucked. The races were canceled in Ontario. I wasn't shocked. I was surprised the weather was so amenable here at Northfield Park, but not shocked about Ontario. They said they got it nasty there. But hopefully they'll have everything cleaned up for Monday evening. So I'll take care. I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday evening.